Attention passionate Seattle, SEAHAWKS fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC West and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Seattle Seahawks' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Seattle Seahawks fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Seattle, SEAHAWKS fans. Let's get to the news. There's no denying that the Seattle Seahawks have been one of the most intriguing teams in the NFL so far this season. After a rough start, many fans wondered if this team would ever find its rhythm, but what we've seen over the past few weeks is nothing short of remarkable. Seattle, with its resilient spirit and a roster that's been through ups and downs, has been making waves. And yet, amidst all this positive momentum, there's a storyline brewing that could really shake things up, particularly in the NFC West and for the Seahawks themselves. That storyline revolves around Woolen, the cornerback who, despite his Pro Bowl past, has been under increasing scrutiny lately. It's a fascinating subplot that might just determine the team's future moves in this critical season. Now, let's set the stage. The NFL trade deadline for 2025 is just about a month away, and the buzz around Woolen's status has been growing louder by the day. According to NFL Network's Ian Rappaport, Woolen has become a potential trade candidate, and it's not just idle speculation. Teams are actively monitoring the situation, especially because Woolen's role on the Seahawks' defense has diminished significantly in recent weeks. This isn't just about a dip in performance, it's about a strategic shift that could have ripple effects across the league. With Seahawks star cornerback Devin Witherspoon returning to action on Thursday, the team now has more options in their secondary, but this also raises questions about Woolen's future. Woolen, who burst onto the scene as an elite playmaker and a Pro Bowl selection in 2022, has seen his playing time decrease. This is particularly noticeable because he's in a contract year, meaning the Seahawks have to decide whether to invest in him long-term or to cut ties and look elsewhere. The emergence of Josh Jobe and Derion Kendrick, along with the return of rookie Nick Emmanwori, has created a crowded and competitive secondary. These young players have been impressive, and their development has put Woolen's spot on the roster in jeopardy. It's a classic case of a veteran facing the harsh reality of NFL roster dynamics, performance, potential, and contractual considerations all playing a role. And here's where things get even more interesting. Bleacher Report's Alex K floated a trade proposal that suggests the Washington Commanders could be the perfect landing spot for Woolen. The idea is that the Seahawks could receive a 2026 sixth-round pick and a 2027 seventh-round pick in exchange for Woolen. Now, on the surface, giving up a former Pro Bowler for late-round picks might seem like a gamble, but when you look at Woolen's recent struggles, giving up big plays late in games, and a low grade from Pro Football Focus, it starts to make more sense. His recent performance has been underwhelming. Woolen has been rated among the worst cornerbacks in the NFL this season, with a grade of just 40. 4 out of 100, ranking him 153rd out of 164 corners. Despite these struggles, Woolen is still only 26 years old, and he's still giving up a respectable 61% completion rate in coverage. That's not terrible, especially considering that he's a former Pro Bowler and still has plenty of tread left on his tires. The Seahawks, however, are in a position where they might prefer to move him now, before the offseason when he hits free agency. If they decide not to re-sign him, it makes sense to get something in return rather than let him walk for nothing. This is a common strategy in the NFL, especially for teams that are rebuilding or retooling their roster. Now, it's important to understand why the Seahawks might consider trading Woolen despite his talent. Head coach Mike Macdonald has publicly supported Woolen, even after the recent struggles. Macdonald mentioned that Woolen had a good week of practice and made some plays in the first 4 games of the season, which kept him in the starting lineup. Still, the coaching staff is clearly weighing their options. The emergence of Derion Kendrick, who has been making a push for more snaps, coupled with Witherspoon's return, means Woolen's role could be further reduced. If Kendrick takes more snaps at nickel corner and Witherspoon and Jobe stay outside, Woolen might find himself completely phased out. Adding to the complexity is the return of Nick Emmanwori, a promising rookie safety who can play more big nickel packages. This versatility allows the Seahawks to be more flexible with their personnel, but it also means fewer opportunities for Woolen. If the team is leaning toward giving Kendrick or Job more reps, Woolen's playing time could be cut even further, which puts his future in doubt. The team seems to be at a crossroads, deciding between keeping Woolen for his potential upside or moving on to maximize draft capital. This brings us to a broader question about the Seahawks' strategy. They're a team that's been building through the draft and looking for young talent to develop alongside established stars like Devin Witherspoon. Woolen, despite his recent difficulties, still holds significant value because of his age and previous performance. Moving him before he hits free agency might be a smart move financially and strategically. It's a way to potentially recoup some assets while giving younger players the chance to step up. The NFL is a business at the end of the day, and sometimes making tough decisions like this is necessary for long-term success. Now, let's talk about Woolen's performance in context. Yes, he's a former Pro Bowler, but recent data from Pro Football Focus paints a less flattering picture. His grades have been among the lowest in the league, which is troubling for a player of his caliber. Giving up big plays late in games has cost the Seahawks dearly in some situations. That's why the coaching staff and front office are probably weighing the risk versus reward of holding on to him. The fact that Woolen is in his contract year complicates things. Teams are always wary of giving up significant assets for players who might leave in free agency. Despite all this, there's a certain optimism around Woolen's potential. At just 26, he still has room to improve, and if he finds a new team that can better utilize his skills, he might resurrect his career. The Washington Commanders, for example, could see him as a valuable addition to their struggling secondary. Their coverage units have been inconsistent, and bringing in a player like Woolen, even with his recent struggles, could give them a boost. According to Kay, this trade could be a win-win. Seattle recoups picks, and Washington gets a talented corner who, with the right coaching, could return to form. Now, for the Seahawks fans listening, it's crucial to remember that these kinds of roster decisions are never easy. The team's management has to balance immediate needs with future planning. Woolen's story is still very much being written. Will he stay in Seattle and try to bounce back? Or will he be traded and seek a fresh start elsewhere? Whatever happens, it's clear that the Seahawks are not afraid to make bold moves if they believe it's in the best interest of the team. Their recent draft picks and strategic decisions have shown that they're willing to shake things up if it means getting closer to their ultimate goal, a Super Bowl victory. This season is shaping up to be one of the most intriguing in recent Seahawks history. With a mix of veteran leadership, emerging young talent, and some tough roster decisions on the horizon, the team is at a pivotal point. The secondary, in particular, is under the microscope, and Woolen's situation is a perfect example of how even star players can find themselves in uncertain territory if their performance dips or team needs shift. It's a testament to the fast-paced, competitive nature of the NFL. The slightest change can have a ripple effect that impacts not just the team but the entire division. Looking ahead, Seahawks fans should stay tuned because this story isn't over yet. The trade deadline is approaching, and the team's front office will be making some critical calls. Whether Woolen remains a Seahawk or moves on to a new team, one thing is certain: the strategy is evolving and the stakes are higher than ever. The Seahawks are in a window where every decision counts, and each move could be the difference between a deep playoff run and an early exit. The league is watching, rival teams are preparing, and Seattle's faithful are hopeful for a bright future. And now, Seattle Seahawks fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on the potential trade of Rick Woolen? Do you think he still has what it takes to bounce back and become a key piece for Seattle? Or do you believe that moving him now is the best move for the franchise's long-term success? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Seahawks. Remember, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Seahawks news. Keep that passion alive, and as always, go Hawks!